A long, long time ago, in a far, far away place called Blackistan, there were wars, and these conflicts were called the Blackistan Wars. And throughout these wars, there arose a man of royal lineage, and his name was BenjaminDeSouza. He brought forth a sword that will shine light in darkness, free the captive minds, and bring truth and justice. His eyes glimmered like ember. His skin was like fine burnished steel, and as he walked, behind him he left a glistening wake. This is the story of BenjaminDeSouza, the Prince and the Warlord. Yo, what's happening? It's BenjaminDeSouza here, the Prince, back with another classic. I'm on I-70 West, about 60 miles out from Denver, Colorado. Drop this T-call off and then hopefully take a 34 so I can rest and just relax and gather my thoughts, man. A lot of things been going on over the past few weeks in my personal life. Just left my mother's hometown, chopped it up with some family members. A few revelations came to light. A whole bunch of heavy shit, man. But anyway, what I would like to talk to is the concept of respecting your elders, or this whole generational divide, notably between the millennials, because I'm a millennial, so I can speak for the millennials, and the Gen Xers / baby boomer class and whatnot. I myself personally, my parents were baby boomers. My father, if he was alive today, he would be in his mid to latter 60s. My mother is in her mid to latter 60s. They had me late. My mother was 30 when she had me. She didn't have any children prior to me, and she had me when she was 30. So I came under a baby boomer sort of, I got reared in a baby boomer household. But I'm starting to hear a particular narrative from, shout out to SWP, but from OLDERS in this space of the Black manosphere. And I think I surmise that it is a lot of projection. And what I mean by that is a lot of OLDERS in this sector, they are attempting to come down on the younger generation, being the millennials and the zillennials, with a socialist style hammer as far as as far as the social construct is concerned. They're coming from it from a standpoint of do as I say, not as I do. And I recently made a video about narcissists, snowflakes, and bad talking points, and I kind of shed some light on the narcissists within the black YouTube sector. But so a lot of people now are starting to harp on this narcissist deal, and I don't want that term, calling someone a narcissist, to just be a nomenclature or something that just freely just flung about. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to study a person and study their actions and what they say to actually come to a sound conclusion that said person is a narcissist. Now, I'm not attacking anyone in particular. I'm just going to attack the pathology, if you will. First off, as far as it pertains to an older generation coming from a do as I say, not as I do standpoint, a narcissist standpoint, if you will, is that they get offended at the slightest pushback or questioning of whatever it is that they say from a younger person. And I find this strange because someone like myself from the millennial cohort can say the exact same thing that someone from said person's same age cohort, be they a older Gen Xer. We could be, me and this older Gen Xer could be saying the exact same thing. The person whom I'm, the Gen X person or the baby boomer person whom I'm speaking with, he will have, or she will have absolutely no pushback or no smoke for his contemporary or his peer that expounds the same sentiments that I do. But this particular Gen Xer or baby boomer will have all the smoke for me and will attempt to discredit me and discredit what I'm saying solely on the premise that I'm younger. It's like, wait a minute. I'm saying X, Y, and Z. Such and such, who is your peer, is saying the exact same thing. Is saying X, Y, and Z. You have nothing to say about such and such, but you got all the smoke in the world from me. That's a problem there. There's a deeper psychosis or pathology there, because that lets me know that it's not about the message in this particular situation. It is about the messenger. Because if I was 45, 50, 55, 60 saying the same thing, you would have no pushback or no points of contention to raise with me. But since I'm 35 and I'm saying X, Y, and Z, you got smoke for me. Now, this is the thing. Now, before I say this, I'm hearing certain content creators attribute pushback or questioning from my age cohort, being a millennial born in '84. This line of questioning and pushback to certain talking points, they're framing that as if people who do this, who are in my age group, have daddy issues. I find that strange when I myself, who grew up with both my mother and my father for the majority of my upbringing, from the time I was born until 18. So 12 out of those 18 years were spent in a two-parent household with my father. My father took me hunting. My father took me to various properties that he owned to do maintenance on these properties and rehab projects with these properties. My father bought me my first 70-pound bow when I was 9 years old, because my father liked to bow hunt as well. I was unable to pull back the 70-pound. I wasn't strong enough to pull back the 70-pound bow. So he gave that 70-pound bow to another family member. Now, as I got older and I was able to pull back a 70-pound bow, he took me bow hunting. I find it kind of hard to believe that I myself, just speaking for myself, I find it kind of hard to believe that I myself, that I have daddy issues, when my daddy taught me how to skin and dress a deer. When we were sitting in the woods for 5-6 hours waiting on a deer to go by during deer hunting. You know what you get what I'm saying? But that is a dog whistle that I hear a lot of older Gen Xers and baby boomers go to when they receive any type of pushback, or not just pushback, but any form of questioning to whatever talking point that they're expounding. They automatically try to dismiss what said millennial or said zillennial is saying by casting the aspersion that he or she has daddy or mommy issues. No, sir. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have any daddy issues. Now, I tell you what, I do have daddy issues in a sense when certain people try to equate themselves or put themselves on par with my father, or try to use the father dynamic and weaponize it and use it as a stick to hit me with. Now, I noticed this throughout my years of observation in the black community, seeing that there is a dearth of fatherless homes, young boys and young girls growing up without fathers. There is a vacuum there. And everybody knows that nature abhors a vacuum. So what we have in this situation, the sons and daughters, the children of this vacuum of fatherless homes, there will be outside, entities who will attempt to come in and fill that vacuum. Put it like this. If I'm an older Gen Xer, let's say I'm 45 years old, right? And let's say I'm talking to a millennial who's 25 years old. I can look at the social landscape as it is today and see that 70% of kids are born out of wedlock, yada, 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 X, Y, and Z, elemental P. So if I'm talking to this millennial who's 25, 26, I can, with a great deal of accuracy, estimate or conclude that he grew up in a single parent household. He grew up without his father. Therefore, on a psychological front, I can come in and try to be his father. I can come in and try to set myself up as a paragon of authority in his life. And one thing about authority is that it can't be questioned. So in order for me to effectively do so, in order for me to step into this fatherless man's life and set myself up as a father figure to him, I would have to strip him of all notion that he can question my authority at any turn. And if I tell him something, if I tell him to do something, or if I tell him to think a certain way, if he questions that and push back on that, I have the ultimate stick to hit him with, which is, oh, you grew up without a daddy, therefore you have daddy issues. Even though I said something completely erroneous and said something completely asinine, and you raised a pertinent question to my asinine statement, just the sheer fact that you rose that question, or you had the temerity or the unmitigated gall to push back on what I said, you have daddy issues. It is the ultimate gaslight. And you know what? And you know what's so funny and what's so ironic about that situation is that some, not all, but some of these Gen Xers who come from this psychological standpoint of trying to gaslight millennials and zillennials who have pushback to their narratives that they expound and they kick by saying that they have daddy issues. Many of them grew up in fatherless homes themselves. Amazing. That's crazy when you think about it. So let me get this straight, sir. You, yes you, I'm talking to you, who grew up in a single parent household, a female dominated household. You probably didn't know who your father was. You're gonna tell a millennial or a zillennial who for a great deal of his childhood, if not for the entire duration of his childhood into adulthood, grew up in a two-parent household, you're gonna tell him that he has daddy issues? Really? Really? The irony. The irony. Now see, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, as far as the generational divide, as far as it pertains to millennials and Gen X / baby boomers are concerned, I myself, being a millennial, we're not just talking out our ass. We're not just barking for no reason. You're not getting pushback and clapback. You're not hearing these old nigga jokes. Shout out to Mr. Fantastic. You're not hearing these old nigga jokes for no fucking reason. You know what I'm saying? You're getting this smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You're getting this smoke because there's fire. And my issue that I have with the OLDERS is that they refuse to acknowledge that there's a fire. Are there some millennials and zillennials who are quick to jump the gun and just jump out the window and just be wantonly disrespectful to a Gen Xer or a baby boomer just because they genuinely do have daddy issues or they genuinely do feel some type of way? Or the way they feel may be legit, but they just don't have the self-awareness or the wherewithal to handle it in a proper manner. Is that the case sometimes? Yes. Yes. You get no argument with me there. But like I said, I myself being a Gen Xer, growing up, or not a Gen Xer, sorry, a millennial, born in 84. I misspoke. I myself growing up as a millennial, I seen how the Gen Xers came up. I was raised by baby boomers. My parents had me late. They had me when they were 30. I seen how baby boomers came up. Or how baby boomers operated. So with my own personal experiences of my observable reality, I've seen a lot of Gen Xers and baby boomers come with this socialist type of social mores, if you will, of this do as I say, not as I do. Whole time, they not practicing what they preach any fucking way. Or whole time, they don't measure up to a standard that they trying to hold me to. You know? How are you going to cast aspersions on me about having daddy issues, alleged daddy issues, when you yourself admittedly say that you grew up in a single parent, female-led household? Can you square that circle, sir? Please square that circle. I myself, who grew up in a two-parent household with my father from birth until the age of 12 when my parents got divorced, I have daddy issues in compared to you who grew up with no father in the house. Make that make sense. But like I said, if as far as I see it, this is just me. Because I know what real manhood looks like. My father taught me how to be a man. My father. I didn't learn it on the fly. My uncle didn't teach me how to be a man. My older brother didn't teach me how to. My father taught me how to be a man. So what I've observed from my observable reality is that a lot of olders are taking advantage of this vacuum of fatherless households. And they're trying to set themselves up as a paragon of authority and father figures to these fatherless young men and boys. But here's the problem. They have no genetic ties with these young men and boys. So where my father dealt with me from a standpoint that I carried his genetics, so he genuinely has my best interest in mind, you have these olders trying to set themselves up as father figures to these young men and boys and trying to come off as an authority figure, but seeing as they don't have any genetic tie to said young man or boy, they're not going to have the same concern with said young man or boy. So that's where the problem lies. If we can all just admit, if there's smoke, there is fire. I know a lot of old folks like to talk about back in my day. Well, as Kanye West once said, old folks say, talking about back in my day. Well, homie, this is my day. I get it, back in your day, but nigga, this is my day. You grew up seeing you grew up seeing a set of things within society, and I myself, I grew up seeing a whole different set of things in society. So you cannot discredit my experiences and my observable reality. So we can just all humble ourselves and say, hey, look, you being an older or an elder, if you're not trying to set yourself up as a de facto father figure in my life in order to take advantage of me, then I will be willing to accept your wisdom. And if you can put your pride to the side and realize that a brother from my age cohort could teach you a few things about what's going on in these streets, then maybe we can come to some common ground and see eye to eye and work a little better for the betterment of both of us. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Once again, this is not a shot at anyone. I'm not gonna go full SWP and say, man, fuck these OLDERS, whoop, whoop, whoop. Even though he does have a point, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to try to be as diplomatic as I possibly can. And like I said before, you don't have to like it, but you will respect how I handle it. But yeah, that's all I got. Get up on that.